last lesson, we talked about the challenges that Alice faced, and we used evidence to support a theme. Tell me, please, Elena, what is a theme?
The main message of the story.
The main message of the story. Generally, does an author sit down and say, I want to write a story and I would like for no one to learn anything in this at all?
Nope.
I hope that people walk away knowing nothing. Is that how we work? No. And we talked about Alice's evidence. What did we see in Alice's evidence? So who was actually accused of a crime with Alice's evidence?
The knave.
The knave. Very good. Now remember when we talked about the word knave, what did we decide that knave meant? Yeah.
A card and a stack.
Exactly. A card and a stack of cards. And remember we talked about the author Lewis Carroll as being a little bit crazy. And that's why his story was a little bit off. Okay. But we learned a lot from it. Today what we're going to do, our objective today, what we want to try and do today, is we want to compare and contrast the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe and Alice's evidence, and we want to really dig into their similar themes and topics. So what we want to do is we want to take their topics and we want to see if we can figure out themes. Now, we know that this is going to help us with the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe because we have to work towards our... Oh, it's covered up by the thing. We're trying to work towards our cumulative writing task, correct? And so theme is going to be big in there. Can somebody give me one big theme that we found in the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Good triumphs over evil.
Good triumphs over evil. Huge theme. Exactly. Give me another one, Joseph.
Standing up for what you believe is right.
Standing up for what you believe is right. Give me another one.
Sacrificing yourself for the well-being of others.
Sacrificing yourself for the well-being of others. Parker.
Stay courageous through a series of challenges.
Staying courageous through a series of challenges. Okay, these would be great themes, and then we've had lots of, what do we need? Can I just say this is a theme? What do I have to say to make sure that my theme works? Can I just go, oh yeah, this is a theme. What do I have to have?
Evidence.
Evidence, because I always have to back it up, right? So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, we're going to look at Alice's evidence, and we're going to compare their themes. Let's look at this one. Read for me, Maya, this screen, please.
How does the author build this theme of good versus evil?
Okay, how does the author build the theme of good versus evil? Now, I have two pieces of evidence, two pieces of literature that I'm working with. I'm working with Alice's evidence, and I'm working with the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I want you to turn and talk with your partners, and I want you to see if you can think of a place in both of these pieces of literature where the theme of good versus evil comes into play. Talk with your partners and see if you can come up with that.
And Alice is trying to show them how she's supposed to be the Aslan and then Queen of and then
Okay, come back to me and tell me, in our first part, how did we decide initially when we were way back in the novel, just the novel, how did we decide, what did we do that helped us realize that the author was building the theme of good versus evil? The first thing that we did was, what did we identify? Do you remember, Sarah?
That the White Witch was evil.
We identified that the White Witch was evil, very good, and we came up with groups. So who would you say, Connor, were in our groups of good versus evil?
Mr. Thomas was a kidnapper and he tried to kidnap Lucy.
So where would you put him? Good or evil? Good or evil?
Good because he didn't kidnap her. He was truthful.
Okay, he was truthful. He didn't kidnap her. Yes, he started out bad. Well, we don't know if he started out as a kidnapper, but then he changed his mind. Okay, so we would group him in good. We said the White Witch would be evil. What about the siblings? Where are they going to be, Reese?
They're going to be in the good because they saved everybody in the end.
Okay, what about Aslan, Juliana?
Aslan is on the good side because he is always trying to help others.
Okay, and do you know what I really like? What are you doing every time you're telling me an answer?
You're
supporting with evidence. You're giving me, you're backing it up. You have become people who say, this is the answer because, right? And that's what we need. That's what we need for all of our stuff, our cumulative writing and everything. So when we have good versus evil, the theme in Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, how did the author build that? Give me a situation that he built that. We have the characters, right? We have the groups of characters, but give me a situation that you talked about in your group, Cameron, where he built that. What happened to show you good versus evil?
They had a war.
They had a war, that's huge, right? And who triumphed in the war?
The good.
Good. Yes, good.
The White Witch
Okay.
did it.
The White Witch what?
She triumphed it first, but then the good came back.
Okay, so do you see how what the author does in building that theme is if you have the White Witch triumphing once, and then you have the good coming back, do you see how the author is building that for you? As opposed to just starting out going, good always wins. But for a while we thought maybe, the White Witch, maybe bad was going to win. Exactly. Okay, so give me another situation, good versus evil. Yes.
When Peter killed Margaret.
When Peter killed Margaret, good versus evil. Who was good?
Peter.
Who was bad? Margaret. Very good. Give me one more situation.
The last battle in the book.
The last battle in the book. Break it down for me.
Is when, like, Aslan and a group of people that had already been stoned turned back to life were fighting the battle, and they fought the witch and her army.
Okay, excellent. Yep, you got one more?
Yes. When Aslan sacrificed himself for Evan, the true magic came back and made her win.
Okay, so would you say, if that was what you were saying, which part of that would you say was good, and which part of that would you say was evil?
When Aslan helped save Peter,
Edmund, that was
good.
good.
And then the witch tried to kill Aslan.
That was bad, exactly. Now here's another question. Harder. What are our groups of good versus evil in Alice's evidence? If our author's building good versus evil, what two groups do we have there? Who's going to fall in the good side, Kinley?
Alice and the Knave.
Alice and the Knave. Excellent. So who then, Amelia, is going to be the bad side?
The Queen and King.
The Queen and the King. How do we feel about the jury with the lizard who ended up on his head and all that?
They're not included in the middle.
Okay, in the middle. We're not really sure. Tell me though, what's the situation in Alice's evidence, in Alice in Wonderland, that the author used to build the theme of good versus evil? Yeah, Julia.
When Alice and the Knave was, Alice was standing up what she believed was right because she said the evidence that they had was not like an actual evidence and it wasn't good enough, but the king and queen wanted to cut off her head because they were not following their rules.
Okay, that's a huge part, isn't it? Like, she stood up and she said, wait a minute, this evidence is crazy talk. And they said, what did they say? Off their head. But she still stood up for what she believed in. So that's a huge part of good versus evil in that one. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now here's one where I'm going to need you to think about it. Look at the board for me. Parker, read this one for me.
How does the author build the theme of standing up for what you believe to be?
Okay, now on this one, I want you to think about how the author builds the theme of standing up for what you believe to be is right. You already told me that in The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, this is there, right? So now what I want you to do is I want you to talk to your table partner, and I want you to give me an example in both situations. Talk about it first. Give me an example in both situations, both pieces of literature, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Alice's evidence, and tell me where you feel like somebody is standing up for what they believe is right. Talk about it together, and then I want you to type it in. And we're going to do that really quick. So we're going to have to talk and type pretty fast because, we're waiting for people to type. Excellent question. Class.
Yes.
Give me eyes up here 1 second. We had a great point up here. How about if what we do is this team said, what about if we talk about it together, one person types Alice's evidence, and one person types the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Is that good? So that way your team is still working together? Okay, so go.
So in In the original wardrobe, Lucy stood up what she believed was right when she told her siblings that Narnia was real, but when they went into it, they couldn't find Narnia. But after that, she still believed that Narnia was here.
You do Alice.
I just thought of it, but I think it was what she believed is right. She thought she could kill Aslan, but she didn't, because the deeper magic would be within, because he didn't do anything to her. He's innocent, but she has turned almost everybody she's seen into stone.
Well, the White Witch did stand up for what she believed was right, because when she was in the battle, she was using her wand to turn other people into stone.
Aslan again stood up for what he believed is right, because, well, he believed that Edmund should be on their side, because Edmund didn't do anything to the witch. She still wants to keep him, but he still has a right to prove that he needs to have Edmund.
Another reason
he sacrificed himself.
And another reason the White Witch.
Okay, 2 minutes, guys.
Would you paraphrase this statue here? So you can put that as the king says all persons within a mile of the court, but Alice stands up for what she believes is right. And she says, "I'm not a mile high," and then the king and the queen say you're like a mile or 2 miles high, and Alice just keeps on fighting back for she thinks.
Okay, so we have a couple of examples that people have put in. So the first one said Edmund stood up for what he believed was right because when the White Witch was about to freeze the animals having a feast, he yelled, "Oh no, please don't." Thumbs up, thumbs down, do we agree that this is an example of him standing up for what he believes is right? Yeah. Now, did it pan out? Did it work out for him? No, it didn't, because what happened to the poor animals? They got frozen, but did he stand up for what he believed is right?
Yes.
Now, this part right here, if you remember, was a huge change for Edmund. Because at this point, this is the first time, Drew, that Edmund did what?
Cared for somebody.
Cared for somebody, exactly. Yes.
It was the first time he cared for somebody ever since where went wrong at his old school.
Yes, we don't know. Remember the mysterious things went bad at that, what did they say, horrid school? Is that what they said? Exactly, yes.
He could have also added that, like, when he was standing up for what he was right, when he said, "Oh no, please don't," the White Witch could have turned him to stone.
That's true.
Disrespect.
That's true. So what other theme, if you add in that part that Ashton just told us about, if we added in that part that the White Witch could have at that point turned on him and turned him into stone, what theme can we add into this theme? Sacrificing yourself. Very good. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. Alice's evidence, which is a little bit trickier. We haven't dealt with it nearly as much, and did we get to read the whole book?
No.
No, we read the beginning, and then what we are assuming is the end, okay? In Alice's evidence, the author provided the theme of standing up for what she believed is right, to be right by saying the queen and the king had thought that Alice is a mile high, but she didn't believe them because she said that they had made up that rule just now, and they say that rule was the oldest rule. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Is that her standing up for what she believes is right? Okay, all right, do we agree with that? Yeah. Okay, so when we are looking at the situation, the evidence that you guys gave where you said that Aslan stood up for, Aslan sacrificed himself for Edmund, right? Do you feel like if he didn't know about the magic that was the deeper magic, that he would have still sacrificed himself for Edmund?
Yes.
You do? Yeah. Why? Elena, why do you think Aslan would have still sacrificed himself for Edmund?
Because to like save Narnia and all that.
Okay, to save Narnia, so for the greater good. Okay, what do you think, Juliana?
Because good war is supposed to save everyone and make sure everyone's okay.
Oh my gosh, did you hear what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Because a good ruler is supposed to save everyone and make sure everyone is okay. So, do you feel like Aslan falls into that category of being a good ruler? Yes. Ooh, nice job. Okay, what about right here where it says, in Alice's evidence, the knave was being put on trial. So when Alice would try to explain to them that they didn't have enough evidence, the king would say he did, but Alice wouldn't back down and kept on standing up to the king. Do you feel like this is the theme that we're proving? Yes?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up? Nice job. Okay, so let's look at our next slide. We have one more theme that we want to talk about. One more theme. Would you, Kendra, read me this theme?
Okay. How does the author build a theme of sacrificing oneself for the well-being of others?
Okay, before we start this one, we've talked about before, what does sacrificing mean, Cameron? When you're sacrificing yourself, what does that mean?
Like you're putting yourself out there for somebody.
Exactly. Now, in this particular case, there's one that is blatant and out there and the biggest sacrifice in the novel. And Elena, what is it?
Aslan sacrificing himself for Edmund.
Okay, now that sacrifice was him actually getting killed for someone else. If you're sacrificing oneself for the well-being of others, is that always that I'm gonna put myself out there and get killed for somebody else? No. So it's when you take yourself and you put your needs behind the needs of someone else, right? That's sacrificing yourself for someone else. So I want you to turn and talk. Actually, this time, why don't you turn and talk with your tables, with your table group. So my back people come up where you need to be and see if you can come up with something other than Aslan sacrificing himself for Edmund, which is huge, but we know that one. And I'm going to give you, how many minutes do you feel like you guys need?
10.
5. How about 5?
We can always extend.
We can always extend if needed. Let's start with 5.
Sacrificing himself during the war, and the White Witch and
Mr. Thomas sacrificed himself because he let her go, and he ended up being.
Maya, turn it down.
Can it be Edmund sacrificed? Edmund sacrificed himself for the well-being of others because, like in the war, he slashed at the witch's wand, and then she cut her stomach.
Aslan, she sacrificed herself for the person that was in jail. But he said that he shouldn't be in jail because he never did. Yeah, she could have died because the queen was cut off her heart.
He sacrificed himself by cutting off the witch's wand so he could.
Yeah, he saved
Edmund
his
did
sons.
Oh, Edmund did that.
Edmund broke the wand in half.
And then Peter went up to the White Witch and tried to.
Yeah, because he's the one that had gotten turned to stone, and then Lucy tried to put that stuff in him.
And then Aslan, he sacrificed himself. He tried to kill himself, I should say, to help Edmund survive. And then, so when he would get back, he would turn all the people from stone to living, and then go help in the battle, so they could win.
How's that a sacrifice if no one dies?
Well, not all sacrifices is when we die.
Sacrifice could be like you do something for another person.
Yeah, if you like give something for it.
So that's a good everyday
You
example.
do something
It's a good,
for somebody
like,
that
this
could
is
hurt you.
everyday
Yeah,
happening
like
example.
pretend like you have your
So you want to be a friend with the boy?
So say you're getting bullied, and I say, hey dude, stop it, and
Now
he
you
comes
can go back
pushing
to
me.
type.
Well, you can go run away.
When
Isn't
you're
that
done
true?
discussing,
That's
you can go back
sacrificing
to
oneself
type.
for the well-being of others.
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah. Try and die.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I am just sacrificed herself. She's a foul.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
She was like,
Chop off the
She was sacrificed.
Well, way how the also like earlier and the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Aslan knows that Edmund is more important because he can find herself where
The prisoner. What about the line?
Anybody understand? Because she stood up for the
I forgot about that one. That's
He
true.
grabbed
That's a
Jane
good one.
because
That's
she could have gotten
excellent.
her.
Because I forgot about that one.
Well, they would need like a mile high ladder, but it could have been possible.
The name kind of rudely and standing up for what she believed in.
Do you think that Lucy would have thought that what she was doing was good? Do you think Lucy would have thought the way she did it was good? Because you just described the way she talked to the king and queen as rudely.
I do have another one. Mr. Thomas, he sacrificed himself because when he didn't kidnap him.
True,
I just
true.
thought of that.
Right, yeah, that's a good one. Because think of all the bad things that could have happened to him. Remember he went through all the bad things that could have happened to him? That's excellent. Okay guys, according to the timer, do you feel like you need 2 more minutes to type?
Yes.
Okay, 2 more minutes to type. Okay, good dojos by the way today. Okay, so let's lock it and let's look and see what we have. So, well, let me really quickly, first off, what was the theme that we were looking for in this one?
Sacrifice.
Sacrificing oneself for
Well-being of others.
well-being of others. Edmund sacrificed himself to break the witch's wand by jumping on her and turning himself to stone. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you guys think? Thumbs up. That was huge. What could she have done to him?
She could turn him to stone.
Exactly. And in the end, did she go, oh, look, he just broke my wand. Everything's okay?
No.
What'd she do?
Cut him.
She screamed. She got mad. And what happened to him?
She cut him.
Remember when that, she what?
She cut him. Like he was cut him.
Yeah, like remember when Lucy came back, who did Lucy have to help first? Edmund with what?
Her healing potion.
The healing potion, exactly. Okay, in the book it says that Peter, Susan, and Lucy, Peter saved Susan and Lucy from Mogram, and that was his first battle. Ooh, thumbs up or thumbs down. Sacrificing what? Ah, nice. Second, when Mr. Thomas was trying to kidnap Lucy, but didn't even, though he could have been turned into stone. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Worked out well for him?
No.
No. But was he sacrificing himself? Yes. Yeah. What about, ooh, look at this one. In the book, Aslan sacrificed his life for his own army. They tied him up, shaved his mane, and killed him, and it is known as the end. So, did Aslan sacrifice himself for his army in that situation?
Yeah.
He did, because you guys told me that Aslan was sacrificing himself for Edmund, but also for the
well-being of others.
Exactly. Okay, so got that. Let's see. Do we have one of Alice? Okay, let's look. Alice was sacrificing herself for the prisoner. Who was the prisoner? The knave. Very good. When the king and queen found him guilty, when he didn't even do anything at all. Is that true? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Yeah, exactly. She was putting herself out there, even though what did the queen ultimately want to do to her?
Off
Their head. I think that queen just liked to say off their head a lot. What do y'all think? Her main motto. Look at this one. I see a different character name in here. Mr. Beaver sacrificed himself for Mrs. Beaver and the children when he came out of the den when they were hiding because they heard a noise. It could have been the White Witch and he could have been turned to stone. Thumbs up or thumbs down. That is a good one. That is a good one. Excellent. Okay, so let's look at our next slide. Now, this says we want you to select one of the themes, and you want to write 1 to 2 paragraphs explaining how the theme you selected is supported by the events in the text. Now, this is what you guys have just done again and again and again. Yes? We take a theme, and we take that theme and you support it with evidence. You just did that, right?
Yes.
Now, on your sticky note, I don't think I finished passing out sticky notes. I want us to make our checklist, our rubric of what we need to include, and then this will also end up being the rubric of how we're going to check. Okay? I don't know, I feel like that's more than one. So, if I am making a checklist for what I need to include in a really strong paragraph, what am I going to include? Zay, give me something. Evidence. Okay, says I need to include evidence. Do you feel like evidence is important in a strong paragraph?
Yes.
Yes, I feel like she's right too. Evidence. What else am I going to need to build a strong paragraph? Kinley. Ooh, an introduction. Give me an example of what my introduction could possibly consist of. What could my introduction possibly be, Andrew?
Restating.
Oh, restating, would that work? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to put restating here. Now, restating would be an idea, because restating lets the reader know what was asked of you, right? Okay, give me something else, Juliana.
A grabber.
A grabber. Where would that go with? Close it with an instruction. So can we put that here? Could maybe we use a grabber? Okay, so I've got an introduction. Introduction is going to be first, second, third? First. Okay, so in this one it says I need to explain how the theme you selected is supported by events in the texts. Connor?
You need strong vocabulary.
You need strong vocabulary. Give me another one, Drew.
Text evidence.
Text evidence. Okay, so we've got our evidence here, our text evidence here. Now, I need text evidence from where? From where do I need text evidence, Cameron?
The book.
The book and?
Alice.
Very nice. So I need text evidence from two sources. And in this case, our two sources are, that's not spelled right. Two sources are Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. And what if I put AE? Will y'all know what that means?
Alice's evidence.
Alice's evidence. Okay. So, do I need anything else or am I good? Ooh, Amelia. A closing sentence. Now. Yep. Who just said wait?
Well, we need an answer.
We need an
Because
answer.
there is no answer.
We need
There's
an answer.
evidence, but you need an answer for evidence.
You always need an answer. So if I were, these are the things that I'm looking for in my writing, but if I were going to order these, I know that introduction is going to be first. Joseph, what else?
Evidence is next.
Evidence is going to,
No, an answer is going to be next.
so if we did our answer next, then we have to support our answer with evidence. Awesome. And then Joseph, the other ones would be, what about strong vocabulary? Does it even need a number really?
No.
Well, let's do strong, but we'll do closing 4 and strong vocabulary 5, because could I go back in and check my strong vocabulary at the end?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so your job is to create this writing. Yes? And then make your checklist. Everybody right now put this checklist on your sticky note so that you can have it with your writing. And then when we go to check this writing, we'll know what to look for. So we are going to take this writing. You're going to do the writing. Tomorrow we're going to check the writing with the rubric that you just made. Correct? But in this lesson, we compared 2 stories and their approaches to similar themes. So we were given 3 themes. So you know when you do your culminating writing and they ask us about theme and they ask you to bring in theme and they ask you to bring in evidence, are you going to be able to do that?
Yes.
Yes, you are, because you do it every day and we've done it every day. So when we take our culminating writing, when we take our cold read test, when we take whatever test we have to take and they ask for theme, you guys can what? Do it. You totally know it. That when you see the word theme, should that stress us out?
No.
No, it shouldn't stress us out because we can do that. And so what we did today is we compared the 2 stories and their approaches to similar themes, how the author built those themes, and you guys came up with that. You guys did it. So what you're going to do now as you're ending your exit ticket, your final part, is you are going to write this paragraph for me with the rubric that you guys constructed. Okay? Questions? Yes. You can, okay, so Connor just asked if you can work with a partner. What do you think?
Please?
Tell me what can we do with a partner?
Brainstorm.
We can talk about it, we can come up with good ideas, but then what do I want you to do independently? Write it yourself. So I'm happy for you to work with your shoulder partners, work with your table groups to bounce ideas off of each other, and that's great, but I want your final product to be independent by yourself, okay? Yes.